Welcome, everyone. Thank you all for tuning in for our latest CWS Wild Chronicles webinar. We're very excited to have you all join us today. My name is Simran Prasad, and I'm a doctoral fellow at the Center for Wildlife Studies. So let's dive into our topic of discussion for today's webinar. Amphibians are the most threatened class of vertebrates globally, with research indicating that about 40% of studied amphibian species are threatened due to climate change, infectious diseases, and pollution, to name a few. Securing the future of these magnificent vertebrates has increasingly taken precedence in conservation research today, with scientists working on programs that focus on bringing these species back from the brink of extinction. It gives me great pleasure to introduce our distinguished panelists. Dr. Sushil Kumar Dutta is a renowned herpetologist of international repute who has published more than 220 papers, including Nature and Science, 13 books, and guided 35 PhD students. Dr. Dutta has been working on the phylogeography of various taxa of frogs in India, and he has collaborations with more than 30 international institutions and universities globally. Presently, Dr. Dutta is serving as a professor emeritus at Assam Don Bosco University, Guwahati. Welcome, Dr. Dutta. Great to have you on our webinar today.
Thank you, Simran. Thank you.
To complete our distinguished panel, we are delighted to have Dr. Basundhara Chettri join us. Dr. Chettri is an assistant professor at Sikkim University, and her research interests span ecology and herpetology. Dr. Chetri's work has looked at multiple aspects such as amphibian distribution, the effects of climate change on herpetofauna, and ethnozoological practices by diverse indigenous communities. Delighted to have you on our webinar today, Dr. Chettri.
Thank you. I'm so delighted to be part of this program.
So CWS thanks both of our esteemed panelists. And the first question, which I think comes to mind, is what is the ecological role of amphibians and why are they an integral part of the ecosystem? I'd like to open this question up to both of our panelists. Based on your research and experience, could you tell us about the role amphibians play in the ecosystem? So, Dr. Dutta, would you like to go first, please?
Yeah. The first question is very interesting. Ecology, as you know, it includes all kinds of things except materials. But even materials are part of ecosystem now. Okay. So far as amphibians or even reptiles or all organisms are concerned, but specifically we are talking about amphibians, ecosystem has to include everything in toto. Okay. So amphibians are a part of that. Okay. And in ecology, as you know, this organism being an amphibious group, okay, and as we all know, since their origin and evolution, they are part of ecosystem. They are berries. They are aquatic system, aquatic organism, amphibians on land, on trees now, on canopy, everywhere. Okay. Then, they have a very close association with insects and flies. Okay. Most of the species cannot survive without plants. Most of the amphibian species cannot survive without basically insects and many other invertebrates, whether living underground, whether pathodial, all kinds of things. So, then in which way they are contributing to the ecosystem? Most of us know, most of the participants know, they are one of the major bioindicators. Whether good habitat or bad habitat, whether good ecosystem or bad ecosystems, they are very sensitive bioindicators. I will cite an example of my own observations, if time permits. I think more than 25 years back, there was an earthquake. The sun vanished for a few seconds. Okay. Your ground. Okay. At that time, I was a research scholar. I think more than 35, 40 years back, I was at Udpur University. I was ready to go to the open field to find out what is happening to birds, amphibians, reptiles. I was near a pond. Surprisingly, the moment, sun vanished, it was 2 o'clock afternoon. Vanished means it became completely semi-dark. Okay. Immediately, the skitter frogs, you practice silent practice, they started jumping. Crows started shouting. Okay. You see slight change in the environmental parameters. They're the best indicators. Then the indicator, good or bad habitat, nowadays, the present scenario. Even one earthquake, there was a very, very small earthquake. I knew means I was in the field, that very couple of kilometers away from my university campus. It was a fraction of few seconds. I could know what is happening to the frogs in the aquatic system, in water. I was near an open pond. No better example than this. So that is how we think of amphibians and reptiles, basically frogs. Then again, question is, how they are helping the ecosystem. If you want, I can cite a little bit. Okay, now in the present scenario, almost in the whole country, for agriculture, we are purely depending on chemicals, fertilizers, pesticides, insecticides, all kinds of things. Okay. Then we have started talking about decline of population of them. No scientific evidence. These guys, they are such a strong bioindicators. The moment they know, they leave the place. They are changing the place. At night, become many species. Most of the species are nocturnal amphibians. Okay. So the night they are active. If you move whole night in the field during dry seasons, they start migrating one place to another. Agricultural areas are full with water. Even now, this month, okay, everywhere, depending majority areas, it's becoming a dry season after the post-winter. They are leaving the place, picking up. They could know that very good bioindicator. Species also, they love nasty biotic environment. There are species also. There are species of fish, introduced species of amphibians. They don't leave the nasty aquatic system. Specifically, many Daptophrynus bufonids, starting from Himalayas up to Kerala, Kanyakumari. There are species. So that is how I think it gives answer to the first question. They are important.
Yes.
No life without amphibians. Without animals, amphibians is a part of that. Very important animals. If we look to that several million years back in the course of our discussion, I'll give some example of or genera or family of frogs of Indian scenario, even global scenario, how important are they? Okay. And many aspects of conservation will start talking about that, like Dr. Chettri, give views being an ecologist.
Yes. Thank you so much, Dr. Dutta. Very interesting. Could you please share your thoughts with us as well, Dr. Chettri?
I think sir has touched many important aspects of the importance of the amphibians. As he said that they are good bioindicators, that all is known to us. And the amphibians are very significant prey as well as predators. That also sir has highlighted. And apart from that, they contribute very significantly to the biomass because of their high density, like some salamanders and some of the toads, frogs, they contribute significantly to the biomass. And they are model organism, as we all have dissected in our college days. Now, though it is banned, but they are model organism for many kind of things. So those things, they are not related in the ecosystem. Also in our daily life, also they are very significant for any kind of medicine testing. Earlier, we used to use frogs as a model organism. So, like the ecosystem has different services. So the amphibians form part of all these ecosystem services. The services which are given, provided by the ecosystem, the amphibians are part of all the four major services which the ecosystem contributes. I think that's what they are very significant, integral part of the ecosystem. Also, I think they link the aquatic system with the terrestrial system. So they are the connecting link for the link organism for these two ecosystem, aquatic and terrestrial. So when we talk about the amphibians, we have to go in detail in the aquatic system. We need to understand the aquatic ecosystem, as well as we need to understand the terrestrial ecosystem. So they form very significant part of this both ecosystem.
That's very insightful. Thank you, Dr. Chettri. I'm just staying with you actually, Dr. Chettri. Based on your extensive research and experience, could you tell us about the threats that amphibian species are actually facing globally?
Globally, if we talk, we have seen the effect of the climate change. People are talking worldwide. They are facing a lot of challenges in terms of the disease, like the fungal disease, the chytrid fungus, which has taken a toll over the amphibians' decline. And the pollution is already there, whether it is agricultural pesticides or other kind of pollutants. They are also very effective for their decline. And in the habitat destruction, I feel is the major concern so far. Since my research is more focused on the mountain ecosystem, so I feel that is the most significant concern for the amphibians decline. Habitat destruction is very, very rampant in all across the mountain ecosystem. There is extensive developmental projects, whether in terms of road network or construction, quarry. So these has severely affected the habitat of the amphibians. So I think that is the major threats. Apart from the climate change, disease is there. But locally, globally, that may be the major concern. But locally, I feel if we talk about the mountain ecosystem, habitat destruction is major threats for the amphibians.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Chettri. Interesting. Dr. Dutta, what are your thoughts on, the threats that amphibian species are currently facing globally?
Yeah. I go to the very word threat. That's a very charismatic word. Okay. Threat to amphibians or threat to animals. Okay. Starting with insects, ending with mammals, specifically nowadays tigers, elephants, lion, anything. Okay. So threat, in the major threat is we. We are the major threat to any organism, any animal, first thing. Then, in terms of amphibians, as Dr. Chettri told, shipping boats, there are specific things. Chytrids, okay. My student friend, my worker, very cool, Dr. Basundhara, I think he is the major worker trying to find out if there is any problem in the participants should know. They should be in touch with Dr. K. Basundhara, raccoons, CCMB Hyderabad, okay. He has published a couple of papers. Even they have found, diseased frogs, not yet salamanders, not yet Sicilians. Okay, so Karthik is the person in Indian scenario. Even Sanjay Mulod, they are trying to find out. I don't get into that because such a vast country, such a vast number of species of amphibians, more than 400 species. Okay, we have no clue to find out their threat, but we visualize. Everybody, any biologist who are interested with amphibians, reptiles, any animals, think of elephants. Okay, whether declining population or increasing population, we cannot estimate declining population or threats to amphibians, but we can visualize. Okay, until unless there is a long-term study specifically in Western Ghats, the place where you are. Okay, most of the important species are there in very, peculiar, strange habitats. We'll get into that. So thread, like some frogs, they are several meters underground, also real species. Hundreds of species on the canopy, hundreds of species on ground. Okay, how to assess their threats. Okay, some young researchers, I will appeal to the today's participants, they should find out what kind of threat. Major threat, biologically, let me explain in brief. Again, I am getting into cultural ecosystem.
Mm-hmm.
As I told you, we are the major threat because she told that, due to excessive and controlled, developmental things, projects, she told in the highlands, in the, higher habitat loss. Habitat loss is the major thing. And these are very smart guys, these amphibians. Habitat being lost, they are like moving, going somewhere except the fossorial species. They have no other way. There are many, almost all the Sicilians are that threat. But there are some Sicilians, they love garbage areas. They have no threat. Rubber plantation areas in Western Ghats. Okay. But, species, they are in trade, they are breeding habitats, breeding ground. Many of them are seasonal breeders. Many of them depend on the early rain. Many species depend on the, peak rain. Many species depend on the rainy season. And many species also depend on this kind of rain weather. Okay. If you think of Northeast, different scenario. If you think of Western Ghats, different scenario. If you think of high altitudes, Himalayas, different scenario. So depending on the habitat, ecosystem, there are threats available to them. Okay. So excessive use of pesticides, like 35 years, I think close to 40 years back, we printed a paper, effect of pesticides and fertilizers on the developmental aspects of Indian bullfrog. Pollution journal we printed in US. It is a part of my PhD thesis 40 years back. My past PhD is an amphibian biology thing. So pollution, as I see now, I go to the field. I spend a lot of time in the field. These guys, as I told, very small, like some microorganisms. They used to, I'm talking about the threat. How we can say whether there is threat or they are smart guys living that place going somewhere. They used to basically breed in the small puddles, few meters diameter. They live in the burrows, come out, start calling, wetting, egg laying. Within 30-40 days, froglets come out. Now that habitat is gone. What they are doing? They move to the agricultural fields, which was not their breeding grounds like 30 years back. So they are avoiding the threat. Okay. But big frogs, fossorial species, arboreal species, they are having various kinds of, threats. Plenty of threats that cannot be quantified. It is up to researchers to assess the threat. And another threat is, as you know, that some threats has vanished. Okay, like frog leg culture, frog leg export. Since 1985, we had a Ministry of Commerce, Government of India. Okay, they used to control. We had 2-3 places where frog leg used to process. One place was in Kerala, another was Tamil Nadu, another was in Calcutta. Ministry of Commerce stopped frog leg export since 1985. Specifically Indian bullfrog and Indian green frog. They are two big frog, edible species. People used to collect them from natural environment because they were available in plenty. Now their number has come down and there was export that has been banned. Then many companies like Britannia company, some other company, they started, they told we want to do frog culture. There are technology available. Okay. So then even very recently, just last year, 2023, some companies, they wanted to have permission from government. We have to have do frog culture. What species? Exotic species. Okay. American bullfrog or Ibra bullfrog, very easy to culture them, being done in Southeast Asia, Thailand, Philippines, etc. They wanted to do it, but that will be havoc. Anyway, government is very smart. Government never allowed them. Some of my known people, even I was asked, nothing. Nobody can do frog culture in India because one frog will eat thousands of species, individuals of insects. You cannot bring from other countries. They don't eat. You can feed them piggies, baby mice. There are frogs available. Okay. Those our species, they are purely dependent on available food in natural habitat. Okay. So major threat is gone. Frog like export gone. Okay. Catching from natural habitat, it is gone. Again, to the researchers, I want to explain. Okay, during immediately after 85, okay, there was a Government of India Commerce Department sponsored project to assess the depletion of frog legs. When there was no international cry, India started thinking. Okay, Madurai Kamaraj University, Tamil Nadu, there was a professor, I think he expired couple of years back. He was the Indian coordinator. I was a tiny researcher with my professor here in university. I did the research in that field. Okay. So they wanted to assess the threat and declining population of Indian bullfrog and also green frog. Okay. The report was printed. Okay. So there was a gentleman, Humayun Abdullah Ali, in Bombay Naturality Society. He was very severe. Why you are doing this? We have done this. That thing happens in such a big country, some personal, kind of thing. But anyway, so we wanted to show that in the agricultural field, natural population. At the time, there was no, how to calculate the population. There was technology available to clipping, numbering the frogs from up to 5,999. You can count them, which one is what. Cut the fingers and toes. There's a permutation combination. Then you can do that. We did that. I started doing that for 1 year. Okay. That was one example of, estimating declining population of couple of species of frogs in Indian scenario. Okay. So then we proved that they are certainly under threat. At the time, there was no much use of pesticides or insecticides in the country. Okay. So threats were there, threats are there, and threats will increase gradually. Okay. There are, the big animals, carnivores and herbivores. I heard that you got a lot of webinars on elephants and tigers or wildlife conflicts. Maybe one day we'll discuss about that. Okay, these are my take-home messages to you.
Thank you, Dr. Dutta. That's very interesting and great to hear about your field experiences too. I think all of us are very excited to know more. But just kind of moving, kind of talking about the threats as we were saying, I'd like to also ask Dr. Chettri, in your experience, have threats to amphibians escalated or reduced over the last few years? And why do you think these patterns are, emerging right now?
And I think Datta sir very well he spoke that threats are of different kinds depending upon the habitat, and some threats have gone, like the frog leg collection and even the dissection. I told it's banned. So some of the frogs, like before Melanostrictus, Dattaphinus melanostrictus, we used to dissect huge quantity in the college universities. So that has gone. So yes, true, some of the threats have disappeared, but I feel overall threats have increased. They have escalated over the years. As major threats is highlighted earlier, like habitat destruction is increasing. More and more habitat destruction is happening. And if we talk about the mountain system, like we focus more towards the larger rivers, but the amphibians, they dwell in the smaller streams, the torrential streams. Some of the amphibians are very aptly adapted to the torrential flow. They have the disc which will help them to have a grip on the that fast flowing waters. So these kind of streams and all are used for dumping, quarrying. So they have severely affected the breeding habitat or the otherwise also their usual habitat of the amphibians in the ecosystem. So I feel, and also the climate change, maybe we do not have a very detailed, extensive studies from our country the climate change aspects, what really is happening. But I feel with the increasing temperature, they are bound to have some effect on the amphibians ecology, their breeding and rain shift. I think that's already being they have shifted their rains either in the elevational gradient or in the habitat, different habitat, different heterogeneous habitat across their niche. So climate change and this habitat destruction have escalated the threat over the years for the amphibians.
Mm-hmm. That's very interesting, Dr. Chettri. I think kind of drawing from that as well, what methods within ecology and conservation do you believe could help us understand amphibian population ecology better, for future studies?
I think let Sir speak and then I will follow him, because there are different methods for monitoring and this study of the amphibians. So let Sir speak first and then I'll follow.
Sure. Dr. Dutta, could you please share your thoughts with us?
Okay, for the young researcher, there is one book printed more than 10 years back. Okay, estimating amphibian population. How to estimate amphibian population in natural habitat. It was printed by IUCN. Okay. Then I was part of DAPTF, Declining Amphibian Population Task Force for South Asia, IUCN, co-chair for several years. Then we had a lot of documents, publications available. Then the people here in Indian scenario, ecologically everybody wants to quantify. Okay. Find out. I tell youngsters, ecosystem, ecology, without these things, we cannot talk about conservation biology, conservation of any vertebrates or any vertebrates. Then transact or, wildlife are used, work, random sampling, canopy sampling, amphibian sampling in aquatic system, sampling of Sicilians, sampling of salamanders, sampling of thousands and thousands of tadpoles living in waters, living on tree, living on land, Western Ghats living on the slopes. Okay, so that in Indian scenario, the book available for sampling of amphibians never works in Indian scenario. We have bizarre kind of amphibians. In the whole world, there are bizarre kinds of, but we have such a fossil species. Let me tell you, we are talking about scientific sampling, okay, to find out document. Everybody, I think, in today's meeting know the pig-nosed frog. Okay, millions, silicon frog. Okay. We described, Dr. B.U. We did a lot of research on that from Western Ghats, Kerala, Karnataka. Okay. Pig-nosed frog. Underground, big boulders in Western Ghats. Second species we found in the juncture of Eastern Ghats, Western Ghats, Tamil Nadu. Okay. And nobody can think about the estimation of natural population of that species. Last year, rainy season, I was very close to, Periyar River Basin. We found a habitat, thousands and thousands of tadpoles being washed away from the hilltops to Periyar River Basin, Periyar River. Okay. These guys live in the hills, hill streams, excessive rain, flooding. At the time I was there. It will be like nobody might have seen thousands and thousands of tadpoles of Nasica batrachus in natural habitat. Okay. But we managed to find out. Then I was feeling, God, what is going to happen to these guys? They are getting into Periyar River. They will wash their way into the sea, or many of them will get stuck in the habitats, which is not the place where they will metamorphose and survive. Lost millions of them. Okay. Then, basically, when we'll be talking about that, again comes to mind South Indian population of, frogs, Sicilians, fossorial species. There is one species, monotypic genus, biology journalist students should know. Melon batrachus indicus. Again, millions years old micro-eyelid frog. Single species. Within that, it forms a genus, it forms the family. Melon batrachidae. Closest relative sitting in Australia. Okay. We have seen few photographs of that frog in the recent years. We have not seen their tadpoles. None of us. We are yet to see their tadpoles. Out of 400 plus species of amphibians, we know maybe close to 100 species of frogs. We have seen the tadpoles. So how can we quantify or say biologically their population is decreasing or increasing or stable? Okay. So I am citing some examples because many of the participants, they are aware from knowledge of amphibian biology. Okay. Then again, literature, let me tell many students who know from this kind of interaction. There is an amphibian biology book. Okay. In 1950, it was written by Nobel. Okay. Nobel's amphibian biology, which are replaced by Bill Development, amphibian biology. Fortunately, I was a student of Bill Development, my PhD under Bill Development, who died. I recommend the youngsters starting with taxonomy, systematic ecology, lot of ecological stuff in that book. That is the best amphibian biology book. Any student interested, that is a second edition of that. Okay. It is available, one can buy through Amazon. So that gives a vivid picture of even declining amphibian population, ecology, biology, breeding biology, reproductive biology. So I recommended the book for everybody, okay. Then another book I recommend, our Indian author, okay. I still remember everything. S.K. Saidapur, Harvard University. You might be knowing. Okay, Saidapur, Karni in Harvard. He wrote a book, Biology of Amphibians, citing an example, small book based on their research. The students in Western Ghats, they should read that book based on some of the, histochemistry kind of thing. So we need to know the biology of that species. Okay, those are the take-home message for the youngsters.
Thank you, Dr. Dutta. That's very interesting. I think a lot of people will benefit from, all the great literature you've suggested, the experiences you've drawn on. So thank you for that. Dr. Chettri, could you share your thoughts with us as well about methods?
I think, as Sir said, there is no single method suitable for these amphibians because they have different habitat, they occupy different microhabitats. So we have different methods. And as Sir highlighted, those literatures are very useful. And I can suggest another book for monitoring and estimating, that is by Hare et al., which also gives a very detailed description of different kinds of methods, whether for the aquatic, using different kinds of acoustic tools, how the tadpoles can be sampled, how the adult frogs can be sampled, in different habitat, in the canopy or terrestrial, in the leaf litter, the aquatic system. There extensive methodology is given. But based on our research questions and the habitat where we are conducting our research, our methodology differs. There are different methods like quadrates, visual encounter survey, pitfall traps. All those methods are can be used. But based on our research questions, we have to we have to decide which methods works. Like for me, when I tried with the quadrate, I could not cite any individuals or very, very few species. So I have to switch to visual encounter survey because the terrain was so rough, rugged. So laying quadrate itself was a challenge and the time was limited. So I have to switch to a night stream survey and the visual encounter survey. So based on your research questions and the place where you are conducting your research, you have to formulate, you have to read those literatures before, and I think you have to decide on which methods works better for the particular habitat. I think we can decide.
Can I add a little bit to your what you talked about?
Yes, sir.
Because, as I know, Dr. Chetri's mentor from Second, who is no more, Bhupati.
Yes.
Bhupati.
Yes.
Okay. So he is the person to me, this like a forest ecosystem, finding out number of species, this or that, amphibians or reptiles. He was the best. Somehow, he died staying in the field in the high altitude in Western Ghats. So Basundhara might be thinking about Bhupati, my close friend.
Yes.
Okay. Ecologist.
Yes.
They start to suggest there are few amphibian ecologists. People should get in touch with them, youngsters. Basundhara is there. Then, Karthik Vasudeva. He's very hardcore statistician and ecologist. Western Ghats species are there. Like how to figure out, the road-killed animals. Mewa Singh, people should be in touch with Mewa Singh. He's known as a monkey man or elephant or anything. But he knows the statistical, biostatistical quantification of, species in natural habitat. Okay. Youngsters should play with the literature. Now we are ready with Google. Search anything, find out. Be in touch with these people. You could know very good ecosystem information, ecology of amphibians and reptiles or also other vertebrates. That comes again. Anything?
Yes. Thank you so much, Dr.
I think
Dutta.
also to add on it, like we are so much driven with the taxonomic work, now because of more and more species description is happening. So that is driving the young people. That's again a good thing to know what kind of diversity exists. But along with that, we are, I think, lacking behind with the ecological work. We do not have detailed data about the breeding aspects, the food. For many species, hardly we know about a handful of species for the breeding information, the ecological information. So I think that will be very, very important to carry along the ecological study also together.
Yes.
Taxonomy work.
Yes.
Again, Ajit Kumar. Ajit is NCBS ecologist. He knows. I was at this study site at Top Slip. Okay. So Ajit, people should be in touch with Ajit Kumar, even though he's a mammalogist. But he is the person who knows, a lot of things about the their students. They're big sorts. Okay. So people should be in touch with Ajit Kumar Guru Raja, who is there. Because he's a, scientific hub is Bangalore, right? These are the people who are sitting around there. So youngsters should be in touch with them. Okay. Guru Raja, he knows a lot of things about breeding biology of species there. Two names I pointed out.
Yes. Very interesting. Yes. Thank you so much, Dr. Chettri and Dr. Dutta, for that. It was very interesting, I think, for all of us. Before we kind of delve into the conservation efforts, I would just like to ask, starting with you actually, Dr. Dutta, could you share with us any unique observations from the field in your experience, that have been very memorable or interesting in your research?
Conservation aspect, right?
Yes, that.
Very good. Who God can conserve amphibians in the Northeast India? Or it depends. Okay. Okay, this is a very common thing. Not all the 7 states,
Mhm.
3-4 states, because no IUCN regulation, no Wildlife Act, Government of India, no state regulation, nothing what 3-4 states. Okay. There are very good herpetologists there also. Because my most loving place is Northeast, is very frank, where most of the animals are there. I spent many years working those. So, conservation, there what's there. Okay. Go to Arunachal Pradesh, you cannot see a common crow. Okay. But you can see house sparrow. Okay. Because amphibians, anything jumping, moving on water or on the aquatic land, they will catch them, eat them, even make them dry. Okay, keep for the whole year. Last year through WIA, I'm talking field experience as you asked. I was with River Conservation Program consultant with WIA. I spent a month in Manipur. Okay. I was deep in the forest doing that work. So we are doing market survey because I knew many in market they sell what was happening 40 years back, what is happening now. Okay. And heaven difference. Okay. They have ponds, lot of fish ponds. Okay. So it's not a culture, kind of semi-culture, like aquatic yield culture. Frogs they catch there. So earlier they used to catch for eating. Now it is a kind of, laboratory protein. Major treatment for, arthritis, this or that. Even the ladies after giving birth, then need frog meat. Somebody needs raw frog blood. So in the markets, they are very high priced now. 300-400 rupees a kg of skitter frogs or bullfrogs. Okay. So their conservation is going to work. We are doing some molecular biology research. We go to Nagaland. Nobody can stop. Okay. Forest Department, our Wildlife Protection Act is there. IUCN regulations are there. Nothing works. It is a kind of, it continues. Specifically many tree frogs. We call them tree frogs, but they hop around on the ground. And the ranids. Okay. They kill in millions. Try then keep them fresh, they eat, but they keep. Sold in the market. I have hundreds of even last year. Okay. Nothing worked. Then let us go to other parts of the country. Luckily, whether it is a religious commitment or, many of us, many people in this country are, herbivores. I say herbivores means vegetarians. Okay. You go to Kerala. Okay. In many parts of Kerala, you never watch. There's a backyard small pond, concrete pond. They catch bullfrogs, keep there, like a fish, catch 1 or 2, fry them and eat. Okay. It's a continuous process. Okay. But the growth is very high in Kerala, frog in natural habitat. So they still do that. Okay. One cannot stop. Okay. Then, as I told, it's a liability protein. There used to be illegal export. Youngsters also know illegal export, specifically from Northeast and Eastern India. And after the ban of frog leg, everything gets into Bangladesh or Nepal. Then from those 2 places, it is easy to send them to any part of the world. Okay. So that is illegal trade. Okay, that has stopped due to population declining. We say population declining because we can visualize the scientific. So, conservation, then, you can see, go to Northeast at night. Okay. with the masal, burning fire. They are holding, getting into forest ecosystem, go on catching them, okay, and breeding them. So then you cannot think of conserving there. But very good conservation, natural conservation. You do not need to go there and conserve them. They are conserved by themselves. Big scary, small, tiny microscala sitting in the hilltop, hill streams in Western Ghats. You do not need to conserve them. You cannot go there. Okay, they are doing all kinds of breeding biology. Nyctis like as aquatic frogs. Okay, Western Ghats. No need to talk about conserving them. They are in their natural habitat in Kerala. Go to 30 species. My student friend, Dr. B and co, they have done a lot of things, taxonomic works, hundreds of species. So, again, in central India, eastern India, high altitude. Luckily, most of the people living in the Himachal, western high altitude, they are vegetarians. They never kill any frog there, high altitude frog. Northern India, majority are vegetarians. Nobody kills them. They don't eat fish. Central India, similar kind of thing. Only problem is, Tamil Nadu, some parts of Tamil Nadu coming to Andhra Pradesh, Odisha, West Bengal, etc. Bihar, Jharkhand, little bit. That has stopped. We are so much aware now. So there only the conservation problem is there, not for consumption. How to see that so this is a country where there is no exploitation for natural population. Okay, statistically negligible. Even if few hundred or few thousand bullfrogs are being killed in Kerala, which is illegal, but it never puts any impact on their natural population. Breeding is very high there. God's own land. Okay. So God has kept everything intact there. It is still many species are vulnerable. I gave examples of some species. Again, we'll be talking about Basundhara was talking about Ron Hare's book. That is the book I was talking. He's still alive. He wrote that book. You see, 30 years back he studied, looked into tree-hole dwelling tadpoles. He tried to how to estimate the population of tadpoles in the tree holes. Tree-hole breeding frogs are there. Northeast. So Ron Hare's book recommended for everybody. But with the modification in our scenario, Dr. Chettri agrees, we need to put our own system up. We need to find out. We need to find out more and more technology is coming up. Okay, use sensors. Develop the sensors. Try to find out. Like catching fish in the deep sea using sensors, Japanese technology. Let us find out the technology. Sitting in the lab or tracking the elephants, satellite telemetry, putting the antenna. Let us find out the frogs. Develop a technology. Okay, so those are my suggestions.
Thank you, Dr. Dutta. It's very interesting. Dr. Chettri, could you share any of your observations with us as well from the field?
I agree that Sir said that there is no need of conservation. They conserve themselves. Very true, Sir. If we don't interfere, I think they are very safe. But somehow we tend to interfere their habitat, and there are developmental projects. Hydropower in Sikkim, I think, is very high now. So they have been affecting the habitat. There is some of the places, the agricultural landscape, which are very ideal for the some of the frogs. They have been agricultural land has been converted for the non-agricultural purpose. So those things are already creating problems for the amphibians. Otherwise, I think they conserve themselves. That is very true. Unless we interfere, but since we interfere, we need to have certain measures to protect them. And in as sir said, that the indigenous community from the northeast India, we cannot stop them. But I feel, sir, where we have done the ethnozoological study, and we have published that paper in the native communities of Sikkim, we found that they are well aware of the breeding activity when the breeding happens. So those times they avoid extracting the frogs from the streams. So those time they are forgiving, and when the breeding is over, again, post monsoon, they collect and smoke dried, so they eat both as a meat as well as medicines, because in the local communities eat frogs as a delicacy also, and often they use for medicinal purpose, like fever, diarrhea, dysentery. They have been multiply, like mostly these high altitude species like Nanorana libigi, they are very, very favored species, very because of the larger size and the more muscular male. They have been illegally they are extracted from the field. But I feel that if only we are concerned about the indigenous people, they have some knowledge about their breeding biology, so they try to avoid those breeding period. And post breeding, I think they will collect. But the problem again is there are a lot of floating populations, and sometimes they are looking for the cheap source of protein. So daily they are going, and mostly the construction workers and all. So we used to find a lot of them going in the field in the evening, night time with the masal, as sir said, the bamboo turds, and they used to extract a lot of species, whether they are gravid or they do not know. So they will extract rampantly. But the indigenous community, I think they have fairly fair knowledge on their ecology or the biology. So I think that makes it a sustainable business. But the floating population or the people who are not native to that place, they tend to extract the frogs rampantly, and that might affect the population of the species. And if you are asking about the interesting observation of my fields, sir, I would like to share one of my field observation in the high elevation in Sikkim, like where we find this snow toad, scotizer. Once I found male with the warts in their chest, and the digits also with spiny warts. They are supposed to be male. So 4 male were guarding the eggs. But I could not follow it up whether there is a parental care given by the males, because as many frogs, they do have this male parental care. So maybe it is also true for scotizer. I found the 4 males guarding the eggs. So I don't know whether actually it's a parental care or it is not. We have to follow up with more field observations. So that was very interesting for me. And also, it is very interesting to know the snow toad, because they live in a very higher elevation. They have a huge size tadpoles in the hot spring water. There is a hot spring, many hot springs are there in Sikkim. So the water which is coming from the hot spring, we used to find a very huge size tadpoles. Whether like this metamorphosis is halt because of the climatic conditions or not, that would be again a very interesting study to take up, sir. So these two. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Because I have my own perception of scientific idea about this. I've seen many kind of breeding biology in Northeast amphibians. With regard to consumption, I told only 3-4 states in the Northeast. It is completely exceptional, as you told rightly. Okay, that part one. Then guarding, okay, parental care. So I have a term I use, indirect parental care. Indirect parental care, 3-4 males are sitting there. There are 2-3 reasons. One is they are biologically active. Okay. Like few days back, they were in a plexus with some females in and around that kind of habitat. Okay, as you told that species. So those males are waiting to mate, because spermatogenesis is throughout the year, or majority of the months or the breeding season for that. So they are biologically reproductively active. They are waiting then around that tadpole area. If some females will come, they will mate. That's a coincidence. It also helps indirect parental care. Then also there are many semi-parental care there. Okay, some microhylids in the northeast. They make some kind of foam nest in the grasses, semi-foam nest. Tadpole will be moving around. Male or female will be moving around that area because they are doing continuous, mating, amplexus, egg laying, even some hylids, hyla erectans in northeast. So you are correct. There is, we do not talk. We look to the biology book, parental care in the Allies, in the European countries or our Sicilians sitting. Please, species. No. Parental care are there. And also I'll cite another example to researchers. Temperature dependent sex determination. Okay. It is there in reptiles, specifically in crocodiles, in sea turtles, freshwater turtles, and there are many species of snakes. It is there. My studies and published information. High temperature, low temperature, a lot of things to do about sex ratio in amphibians. Okay. This is an unexplored field that will contribute a lot of things to conservation biology of amphibians. If we are serious about conserving species, to categorize species, because if similar, participants should listen, Central Zoo Authority, because they are encouraging captive breeding program of some species of frogs. There are some protocols available. But which species you do captive breeding program, which are important, there are some species pinpointed as per the law, whether threatened or endangered like that. So those things are there. Scientific studies do more and more to assess the conservation biology of the conservation species.
Thank you, Dr. Datta. Thank you, Dr. Chettri. It's very interesting, and thanks for a great discussion. We've got a lot of people saying that it was a very informative session, and they thank you both. We've got an audience question that I'd like to ask you both. We can start with Dr. Chettri. So someone has asked, what has been your favorite location to work on amphibians so far, based on your experience?
Amphibian distribution if I talk about the distribution, it's decreasing with the increasing elevation, or mostly it is mid-elevation peak. So I think most often we find more species in the middle elevation. So more the species richness, more is the diversity. So I think middle elevation will always be a favorite place to work on because there is more diversity.
Okay, lovely.
But there are some unique species which occurs in the higher elevations. They are unique, but diversity will be less in the higher elevations.
Great. Thank you. What about you, Dr. Datta? What has been your favorite location?
Favorite location? Yeah, Western Ghats and Northeast. I'll give some examples. Youngsters will be very happy. Like you enter to some forest in Northeast, or Arunachal Pradesh, or Assam, or Meghalaya. There are valleys, big bamboo trees, several meters top of the bamboo plants. Bush frog is sitting there calling. You hear their call, you are watching like a monkey at night, of course. But you cannot catch them, you cannot see them, you cannot photograph them, you don't know which species is there. Similar scenario in Western Ghats, similar scenario in Sri Lanka. Okay. So you cannot see them. You could hear them. Okay. So that is why I told, a tree is doing canopy sampling. Use the technology, how to sample without killing them, disturbing them, do the sampling, canopy sampling, and find out these are kind of animals sitting because there are frogs in the Western Ghats, also Northeast. They never come to land. Generation after generation, the life is spent on the trees, putting their eggs on the tree holes, putting the eggs on the leaves. That is why I told plants and frogs, they are, helpful to each other. Then those kind of species, very vulnerable species, they vanish fraction of few years or few months. We go to the, type locality of many species in the Northeast, we don't find them there. We find somewhere else. Western Ghats, you go, many species, you need to search them in a specific month of the year, specific timing of the month, rainy season, night. How many of us go to deep forest at night to search frogs? You can go to deep forest to search elephants or tigers or big animal or king cobra. But frogs, few centimeter to, 80, 90 centimeters frogs, right? So we used to, then you are prone to, snakes, poisonous snakes in the field. I am telling field experience. So every possibility, sometimes you will be bitten by snakes. Western Ghats, couple of times. There are sometimes you will fall down. Okay. Because if you are moving at night we do the acting things, you fell down. Okay. Northeast, I'll cite the example of Rupa Uru from Nehu. Once we were in the field, she wanted to see how we are catching snakes. She was with us in the field. She's an amphibian biologist, reproductive biologist, breeding biologist, Professor Rupa R.N. Uru in Nehu. So she fell down, she broke her leg. She was with us. Okay, she was with us. She wanted to see how we are catching a snake from the hill street. A slippery. Okay, she went at night to dairy. She fell down, she broke her leg. Sometimes you will be bitten by some snakes. Okay. So those are the things, specifically in the Western Ghats and Northeast. Our part, Central India, Eastern India, we have many species of, we call them, wood frogs. Frogs means grass. Junk. That means you can see them everywhere. Okay. Small frogs. So we call them, junk species of wood species. But beautiful animals sitting in southern India, Western Ghats and Northeast. Let us explore them. Let us find them. My suggestion is ecology and breeding biology, not taxonomy. Species are there in natural habitat. Species are man-made artifacts. Simran should agree. We have given the name tag. Does not matter to them. They are existing in natural population, ecology and biology, breeding biology. These two things will save, conserve amphibians in their natural habitat.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Dr. Dutta. I think you've really concluded a wonderful talk on such a great note. We've had a lot of questions come in, and unfortunately, because we are running short on time, we won't be able to take all the questions. We have shared your contact details and Dr. Chetri's contact details. There are a lot of very interested researchers and people who are keen on learning more, who would like to ask you questions. But I would like to just take this opportunity to thank both of you, Dr. Chettri from Sikkim University and Dr. Dutta from Assam Don Bosco University. Thank you very much to both of you for adding great insight, field observations and discussions today, and taking the time out to participate in a very engaging conversation. So thank you both. I hope all of the audience enjoyed our CWS Wildlife Chronicles webinar. To know more about us or get involved in our organization, you can write to us at outreach@cwsindia.org. If you do have questions, you can write to us and we will accordingly also contact Dr. Chettri and Dr. Dutta on your behalf to answer these questions. So thank you once again to everyone, and we shall see you at the next CWS Wildlife Chronicles webinar. Thank you, Dr. Datta. Thanks, Dr. Chettri.
Thank you, Simran, and your associates in the Center for Wildlife Studies. It's a great privilege and honor, I think, to talk in this program. And I'm so honored to be with Datta sir. He's our guru for all the herpetologists in the country. So I'm honored, sir, to be with you and learning so much from you. Thank you all the participants. And just one message, that awareness, like why still we are lacking if we go any remote corner homestay, people will know about the butterflies and the birds, but not known about the frogs. So let's create that kind of awareness. Let's encourage more young people to come into this field, because I think there is some resistance towards amphibian research than the butterflies or the birds. As we see when we conduct the interview for the PhD program, more people come with their mindset, I will work on the butterflies, moths or birds, but very few for the amphibians or the reptiles. There are a lot of challenges, but let's explore this unknown the taxa, and let's learn more about them. So I encourage all the youngsters to create this awareness in terms of research and the outreach program also. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Chettri.
Dr. Last question. For wildlife studies and the participants. Simran was asking, conservation. I'll talk, I'll just let you know in national scenario. We have Project Elephant, we have Project Tiger, all kinds of things. Why not to have Project Frog?
Yes.
Or Project Amphibian. Okay. It is a policy issue. It should be taken up by Government of India Biodiversity Board or Minister of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. Why not?
Yes.
Even Project Beyond, Project Bark.
Yes.
Existing, nobody talks about.
Yes, sir.
Project, so Simran can try. So okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
The Center for Wildlife Studies is a 40-year-old non-profit organization with a focus in conservation science, research, education, and policy. We used to invite the speakers to our offices in Bangalore to talk about the latest topics in wildlife research and policy. And due to the pandemic, it's given us the opportunity to take our webinars online. We launched CWS Wildlife Chronicles, and this will be our 54th webinar. Our past webinars have included discussions on a range of topics, such as zoonotic diseases, species conservation relating to elephants, tigers, primates, research on bioacoustics, and human-wildlife interactions. If you'd like to see our past webinars, you can visit our YouTube channel to view these. Today's webinar will also be recorded and available on our YouTube channel. If you wish to support CWS initiatives and other similar outreach work that we do, you can use this QR code to donate. You can also visit our website at cwsindia.org or get in touch with us by writing to outreach@cwsindia.org.